My name is Cam and I'm based out of New Jersey. I created this page because I wanted to share my story and inspire other women to get the encouragement that they need to move and grow out of their circumstances that they're in right now. My goal as a realtor is to be able to create a shared living experience among women who are trying to better themselves, but unfortunately don't have the finances or the support they need to be able to grow out of their circumstances. I am the youngest of three. When my parents came from the Dominican Republic, they moved to Washington Heights, 163rd and St. Nicholas. So, from my upbringing, my understanding was that at that time, Washington Heights was not the Washington Heights that you see today. I was told that it was a concrete jungle. It was like Vietnam, back in the late 70s. Our block was very dangerous, so we were not able to go outside. We literally lived in a one-bedroom apartment, all five of us, and whoever else slept over, stayed over. We lived in this one-bedroom apartment. My parents realized that this was really no place for us to live or grow or raise a family, so they decided to move to New Jersey. So I moved to Garfield, New Jersey when I was about 4 years old, and I've been living here ever since. It's funny because as an adult, I look back and I reflect back and I think like, you try to take us out the hood, but the hood did not come out of us. That's for sure. My parents were very strict with me and my sister, where my brother was free range. He could come and go as he pleased. Whatever he wanted to do, he could do. But me and my sister, we were pretty much still in that Washington Heights one-bedroom apartment mentality. Like, we really couldn't go anywhere. We had to ask permission unless if it was with family, and that's it. We could not do sleepovers. We couldn't do none of that because they were just worried and they felt like we couldn't take care of ourselves if we were outside. I think the strictness was attributed because of the environment we were in Washington Heights. They wanted us to be very controlled to make sure that we wouldn't fall victims to the circumstances that we saw in the Heights. So I think, once I came into the mix, my mom delved more into her faith that as a Catholic, into her Christianity. So my upbringing was very different in a sense that, yes, we did the CCD classes. Yes, my brother and my sister went into Catholic school, but I feel like my mom, when it came to me, she was very adamant about us going to church every Sunday, doing the youth group, doing all of this. So to try to prevent us from, falling astray and falling into the streets. And also, as my father's addiction was getting worse, I feel like my mom became even more rigid in her faith, which led us to make us feel bad about the decisions that we made and embarrassed, because we had to maintain this facade of the perfect family. She didn't really notice it or didn't want to see it, the things that he was doing, because it becomes a battle, like you can't get a divorce. You want to keep your family together. You want to have this picture of, yes, we have a house, we're working, we're functioning, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of turmoil and chaos that's going on. And, I feel like me, my brother, and my sister, we didn't see the benefit of going to church because of everything that was going on essentially in our household. Being the youngest of three, you really don't have a position to speak or be vocal about your feelings. So you really do become an observer of people, of situations, and you just process things because that's really the only space that you have. So as I got older, I didn't feel like I was in a place where I could question anything, especially when it comes to, growing up in the church. It's like, these are the rules you have to follow. This is what it is say your Hail Marys, do your Ave Marias, and repent. And it's like you really didn't have space to have conversations about faith and spirituality. And you become resentful of that, and you even become resentful of yourself for having the feelings that you do have. And when I sought for guidance, especially when it came to the priest and in confession, I really did use it to be able to let go of the feelings that I was having. And it made the priest not like me, like I was the one that was an issue, or I did something wrong. And it even got to a point that he wouldn't even acknowledge me when I would come into service. He wouldn't try to speak with me. He was just very, I already noticed, because I already noticed it in my life with my father, that he didn't really like me. So that even made me more upset, because it's like, how are you a priest? How are you supposed to do all these things and be a part of God, but you're acting in this way? So once I saw that, it wasn't really working in the way that I felt like it should be, or that I wasn't really being guided, I pretty much was obligated to go to church. And since my brother and my sister, once they turned 18, they stopped going to church, I said, well, as soon as I turn 18, I'm not going to this church anymore. Because at the end of the day, I felt like I believed in God. Me and him had a relationship because he's always guided my footsteps and made sure I was okay. That I felt like, you know what? I don't really need church. I already know I'm spiritual. I could be guided on my own. And ultimately, I was led astray. I became just like my father in a way, part of this world, because that's what I saw that was winning at the time. I felt like, we lacked. I had to work. I was already working since I was like 14 years old. So I pretty much had to make sure I had the things that I needed. And, obviously, my mom was there, but she was tired of me. She pretty much washed her hands of me because I was a handful. I didn't listen. I could go out when I wanted to go out. I wasn't really checked upon like that. And I also felt like my mom started to harbor resentment towards me because I was such a difficult kid, that she kind of let go. And from 18 to 24, I would say that I guided myself in the direction that I thought was what I had to do. I was in college, but I really didn't know what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. But my mom made it a point that I needed to go to college, and especially because my brother and my sister didn't finish school. Like, she just said, go to school and figure it out. So it was hard for me to even want to enjoy school. And I would even do like a continuing education courses to get my real estate license. And that was kind of the route that I wanted to take. But my mom was like, no, you need a college degree to go. So I felt like I was stuck in this place of trying to figure it out while I was in college, just to get a certificate and not really do anything with it. I saw I really saw my life slipping away because I felt like I was making terrible decisions, not really understanding why or what was the reason for me to do it. And honestly, I feel like God placed my husband at the right time for me, because I really was so lost as to what it is that I wanted to do. Where was I being guided to? And, Shortly after we met, we ended up getting engaged, and then 9 months into our relationship, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And I feel like that was needed for me in order for me to slow down so I could take a step back and reflect on the things that I was actually doing to myself. So now I have this family and I'm 25 years old, and it's crazy because it's like, even though, you know, me and my husband, we love each other, I felt like we moved very quickly in a way. So we were kind of learning each other and, you know, raising a family at the same time. And, you know, sometimes I felt like uh I mimicked my mom's and my father's relationship in certain aspects, because, you know, I was following the rules that I know when it comes to, you know, marriage and being of a Christian household. You want to make sure you maintain the peace. And, you know, when you do those things, I feel like you start losing a little bit part of yourself, because you think that those are the things that you have to do as a mother or as a wife. And even then, we had some challenges because, you know, I really didn't fully know myself, and I really didn't fully know him to a certain extent, because we got together so quickly. And I didn't realize it until my sister, after 10 years, we started speaking again. She approached me and she said, "You used to be so much girl power. She's like, why are you like this now? You don't like dancing, you don't like this, you don't like that." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But when I sat down and really reflected back at it, I understood what she meant, and it kind of made me want to figure out, why am I this way and not that way? So I want you to accompany me and join me on this journey as you get to know me and my purpose and what it is that I want to do. I will continue to give you more details about my circumstances, my issues, and how I work to overcome them. So hopefully that way I can inspire you to do the same. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, do all the YouTube things so we could keep up and build a community together. I hope to see you next time.